Now at 6, we are bracing for frigid temperatures, a cold weather advisory prompting a weather impact alert tonight. Thanks for inviting us in at 6 o'clock. Anne Marie's heading over to Italy for the upcoming Winter Olympics. Angela's been tracking this extremely cold stretch, and we're heading into another night of dangerous temperatures, aren't we?
Yes, below zero temperatures, especially east and southeast of Indianapolis. So continue to take precautions from this dangerous cold we've been dealing with most of the week. Scott mentioned the extreme cold that we're dealing with and that cold weather advisory. It continues for most of us just across the state line. That is an extreme cold warning for portions of Ohio. Locally, we're expecting temperatures at zero, if not below, early tomorrow morning. Most of us are in the teens, although we've already dropped into the single digits in Bainbridge at 9, 10 in Connorsville, 17 Indianapolis, 17 Bunker Hill, and looks great over Crawfordsville on this Friday evening, 17. There are some clouds and flurries around, nothing that's going to slow you down as you head out for Friday night plans, dinner, a high school basketball game, but bundle up. It's going to be cold, single digits and teens this evening. Will be sub-zero for some early tomorrow. Some sun, some clouds, some morning flurries, highs in the teens to start the weekend. No accumulations from the flurries tonight and early tomorrow, but a quick coating perhaps late Sunday. More on that in the full forecast.
All right, Angela, we'll see you in a little bit. Tonight at 6, we're finding out how last Sunday's snowfall is still impacting our neighborhoods. Jenna Webster is checking out the roads for us tonight on this Friday night. So, Jenna, does DPW feel like their snow fight was a success?
You know they do, but they also acknowledge that not everyone is going to agree with that, and they do say there is some more work to be done. So I want to give you a live look outside from our drive camera at kind of where we are right now. We're on Park Avenue near 13th Street, and you can see we're bumping around a little bit, but you can see for the most part you can drive on these roads. It's a little bit dicier when you get to the intersections, when you get into these turn lanes. Obviously the side of the road kind of over by the curb where people are parking is not plowed, but that's what DPW says the expectation is, that the plows are going down the middle of the street. So the last couple of days DPW has been out inspecting the streets that they've gotten some complaints about. We know it's at least a dozen inspections so far. That's how many the communication officer says he has personally done himself. He does say it's tough to tell if plows have missed a street or not, because 5 days later, you know, people have been driving down the streets, they're kicking up the snow, they're clearing snow into the street from their car or their sidewalk, or snow has actually been falling off cars as they're driving that wasn't cleared off the top of the cars. But he says if the street doesn't look passable, they are sending the plows back out. We know that happened just yesterday for Talbot Street in the Heron Morton Place Historic District.
I think that's going to be, you know, something that's personal for every particular person. I mean, obviously, if you live right along a thoroughfare, you're going to have a different perspective on how it's gone versus someone who maybe lives maybe in the farther extents of the county. But there's always going to be stuff for us to improve upon.
Now, what those improvements are, DPW did not say, but they say they do want to make it more clear at the start of the snowstorm what a completed pass on your street looks like. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where you have the one plow down the middle to make it passable. DPW also wants you to know, just because they released their contractors today, that was done at noon, where they were considered that they had completed their job, and that they are no longer also working their DPW crews on those 12-hour shifts. Their snow fight is not done. They say this is a historic snowfall. They plan to keep working. So if you feel your street was missed, you have until Monday morning to report that. They want you to send a picture, but DPW, they might come out and inspect. They just might not agree with you that if a plow has gone down, their definition of passable might be a little bit different than yours. So like I said, they do want to make sure that people have a better understanding of what a passable plow looks like on a residential road.
Yeah, we do need to be advocates for our own neighborhoods and the streets. Jenna Webster reporting live. Thanks so much. And it's not just the snow. The brutal cold temperatures are hitting Hoosiers hard. Indianapolis EMS has seen a surge in cold weather emergencies. Tonight, our Ashton Hackman breaks down the numbers for us. So, Ashton, this is a pretty big spike, isn't it?
That's right. Over the past week, with bitter cold and dangerous wind chills, paramedics in Indianapolis have seen 6 times the normal number of cold weather emergencies. The snow may be done falling, but the calls to Indianapolis EMS are rising.
It's been a challenging week for the entire city, and IEMS is been answering the call many times.
On a normal winter day, paramedics handled 2 or fewer cold emergencies. This week, that number climbed to nearly 10 a day. Sunday, the peak of the storm, it spiked to 21. 3 people died from the winter weather.
Since it is so cold, individuals who are exposed to it are experiencing the symptoms faster. Cold is a stressor, and I think people need to realize that. So not only are you getting stressed by this extreme cold, but obviously the activities that are necessary when we have such a huge amount of snow.
IEMS Chief Dan O'Donnell says the 2 main cold emergencies are frostbite and hypothermia. With frostbite, you should be looking out for red, pale skin, numbing feeling in your fingers or toes, muscle stiffness, and blistering in severe cases. You can limit your exposure with wearing warm layers, avoiding being out in the cold for too long, and seeking medical attention if symptoms don't improve. Hypothermia can be deadly. Pay attention for any of these symptoms, particularly confusion, memory loss, slurred speech, and drowsiness.
Keeping dry, that's important. As we get wet, the impacts of cold and the threat of cold injury go up. So you want to try to keep things as dry as possible and covered up.
In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
And you can go ahead and track this cold weather by downloading our 13 Weather app. You'll get the hourly forecast. You can also check out the weather blog, and you can find our weather coverage streaming over on WTHR+. The Indianapolis teen who's accused of shooting and killing his barber made his first court appearance today on murder charges. Our Rich Nye had his camera in the courtroom and talked with the victim's family.
Dominic Sherman came to court in a green jail uniform for juveniles, but at 16, his murder trial is automatically waived to adult court. Sherman is charged with shooting and killing his barber, 35-year-old Stephen Coach, then stealing his car.
Do you intend to hire an attorney, or would you like the court to appoint an attorney to represent you?
Appoint.
You were in juvenile court before you came here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a public defender down there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll appoint a public defender to represent you in this case.
Court records say that Coach came to the City View Apartments on November 8th last year to trade a watch for a gun from Sherman. This is a building where Coach apparently had several hair clients, including Sherman. Coach was shot just a block away at 39th in Pennsylvania. The mother of Coach's 4 children came to the hearing with their 1-month-old daughter, who Coach never met. Coach's mother also attended. She wants to protect her identity.
There is absolutely no words to describe. I am devastated that this has happened to Stephen and my family, and we are still processing this.
Sherman is being tried as an adult. He is held in jail without bond. His trial is scheduled for March 23rd. At the Marion County Community Justice Campus, Rich Nye, 13 News.
Still to come on this Friday night, fresh perspectives. We've got the new officers joining IMPD. Angela?
Scott, we've got a few flurries on radar this evening and more snow chances in your forecast.
Operation Basketball is back. We're at Ben Davis, a ranked battle in Class 4A.
Yeah, a lot of really good matchups between these two teams, Carmel and Ben Davis, over the years. We're going to have a preview for you coming up later in 13 Sports.
You're about to be charged at the airport if you show up trying to fly without the right kind of ID. The charge, $45, and it starts February 1st. Now, the right kind of ID is a real ID noted by the star either on your driver's license or your state ID. Another option that can work is a passport and also this list of government IDs. If you show up without any of these IDs and you reach a TSA agent, you will have to get out of line, pull out your phone, and then complete the Confirm ID form. That's when you pay the $45, and it takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to process. Keep in mind, TSA says it can take longer. Once you pay, you bring the receipt back up to the front of the line, and that's when you'll be good to go. That receipt is good for 10 days. If you know ahead of time that you do not have the proper type of ID, you can fill this out at home and bring it with you to the airport.